Hey everyone, this is Carl, and this is part 2 of problem number 4 for session 9. I just want to give you a good sense of part 2 being part B, essentially. Find the 95% confidence interval for the mean difference in page views from these two websites using the pool degrees of freedom. Now, just getting you a closer look, if you remember this, website 1, website 2, they're pretty similar in terms of the actual sample size, the mean, and those things, standard deviation. So, going back to our question. So for confidence interval, it's y bar minus y bar 2. Y bar 1 minus y bar 2. What is y bar? It's the mean. Plus the t value for the degrees of freedom times the standard error pooled, or the pooled variance. Y bar 1 minus y bar 2. So, in that case, what we're looking at is the 95% confidence interval for the difference. So we calculate this. First, we need to calculate this value. What is the t value for the degrees of freedom times this standard error pooled? So in this case, in Excel, what you would do, taking your 0.05 and your 8 degrees of freedom and your alpha. So what is alpha? How do we know what alpha is? Alpha is 0.05. We know that by this. If you remember correctly, alpha is 1 minus your confidence interval. So it's essentially that. So it's nothing too complex. So 1 minus 0.05, and that's where we got that value to plug in. And your degrees of freedom is the 8, that's up here, as you can tell. And so it's really just plug it in and up here. 0.05 alpha, which is the probability in this case for this t inverse calculation. And 8 is our degrees of freedom. So it gets us this value. So after that, we have pretty much everything we need. We have this value up here, which is our standard error pooled, and we have our the means, and so we're really kind of set. So it's just basically, plus or minus in terms of this right here, y bar 1 minus y bar 2, what that is, plus or minus the t value times the standard error pool. So in this case, as you can tell, the calculation up here is 4.4, the difference between the two, and means are up here. So 10.8 minus 6.4 is 4.4. That's where this value comes from. By B49, B49 is right here. It's this t value we just calculated, and then the 1.141. What is that? That is this calculation right here, as we've done before. 1.141. So that's when it's plus, and this is when it's minus. That's the only difference between these two equations. And so that pretty much is our confidence interval. So the 95% confidence interval for the difference between the mean number page views for these two websites is 1.14 and 7.66. What does that mean? That means with 95% confidence, we know that the difference between these mean number of page views is between these two values. That's essentially what it is. We're giving a threshold in this case. So this concludes the second part of problem 4. We just hope that this helps you out. And also, just getting along the lines of pooled variance and non-pooled and that kind of thing, a good tell when you're talking about this is this right here. These standard deviations are extremely close together. 5.2, 4.8. I mean, even for as little of a sample size, they're pretty close together. So that's a tell to show you that it wouldn't really matter if you're doing this with a pooled variance or not. So just a good tip going forward if you get asked that question. So the key tell is the standard deviations. So we hope that this helps, and just let us know if you have any questions along the way. Thanks so much.